afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Speed Gaming 2. Today we have another Link to the Past Randomizer tournament match between Matt and Yagamoth. This is Game 3. My name is Tracy M. With me today is Mercer. How are you doing, Mercer?
Pretty good. Looking forward to this one. We've got an interesting set of settings for you today.
Yeah, this being a Game 3, and Matt having lost Game 2, has decided to go standard. Yagamoth, having lost Game 1, had switched it to 6-6, so we're going to do a standard mode 6-6 seed here.
Yeah, they go a little against each other. Standard usually makes seeds a bit longer, and 6-6 shortens them.
Usually shortens them. As we've seen some 6-6s, not always, although I did do a game where one of the runners finished in 56 minutes, so it can happen. But yeah, so yesterday they played Game 2, and it was a pretty straightforward 6-6 seed. The main turning point was Yagamoth going into Ice Palace and finding his hookshot there, and Matt taking a long time to get to that hookshot in Ice Palace. Hookshot in Ice Palace also being often being one of those tough ones to call, because there are parts of Ice Palace that can, depending on the key locations, be hookshot locked, but this was not one of those, so that allowed Yagamoth to take a pretty big lead and end up finishing it out, giving us our Game 3 today.
Yeah, that's one of the worst locations for the hookshot to be, with worst probably being somewhere in the front of swamp.
Yeah, dipping swamp without a hookshot is never a good time. So here we go. This is the only text box. Nice.
Of course,
always like to see. Oh, Bombos. Interesting. Yeah, always fun to see what those first text boxes the developers come up with.
Yeah, I like that one a lot better than the blind jokes. Although some of the Ganon boxes are pretty great.
Already getting a map check, we see a green pendant on Eastern and a red crystal on Tower of Hera, regular crystal on Desert. And our item today is a bow.
Of course it is. With a pendant Eastern.
Of course.
That means you're allowed to have the bow early.
That's right. It could bait them into green pendant Eastern. It'll be interesting to see if there's actually anything there. Oftentimes that bow will more likely lead to progress in pod than Eastern.
Yeah, the green pendant does upgrade it to 4 items if you go through the whole thing and do the vanilla boots turn in.
And with the bow, you'll notice it did get straight up to 30 arrows with that. Not having bombs, we'll see if they try and farm for bombs on their way through the castle.
Yeah, if they know the prize packs, they should be able to tell if they've got ones where bombs are available pretty quickly.
Standard mode being the time where knowing those prize packs is the most useful.
Looks like they're going to be hoping one of the other prize packs has it, or that one of the remaining chests has it. One of them has to be the small key, but there could be 2 more items if we don't find the map. Oh, there's the map.
So Matt just a little tiny bit ahead. At this point in the match, doesn't really make a huge difference. He hasn't checked his map yet, so that's kind of the biggest time sink that Yaga has done.
Yeah, but you can probably safely assume Eastern is a pendant since they got the
yeah, so
early.
true, so true. One nice thing about standard, don't have to worry about damaging yourself down for that death warp you would do in a regular open seed.
No, though if you're very, very lucky, you might have the mirror at that point to shorten this a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, the time difference is basically just that map check. I think as soon as Matt does that check, that they'll even up.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt Matt's gonna do that map check. Never want to enter Eastern with that bow and then hear that pendant music. So we'll shortly get to our next check, and of course, because this is standard mode, they will have the light cone to get through the Dark Cross area, even though they do not have the lamp yet.
Yeah, worth mentioning, if they don't find bombs here and end up having to come back, this light cone will still be here on a return trip, so the items in the back of Escape will be in Logic, even without a glove.
Oh, and bombs in the Dark Cross check. That's a really good place to find them.
Yeah, there's, I think, 17 items that are bombs in the pool. 16 of them are 3 bombs, and then the 110 bomb drop that's added for standard mode. So you've got pretty good odds at finding them somewhere along the way.
Yeah, actually, in the end, it turned out to be good that they didn't end up with a prize pack that would allow them to farm bombs, because that could take a while. In this case, they realized, nope, not going to get bombs here, and then they get them anywhere at the Dark Cross, so it ends up not being an issue.
Yeah, and a bottle before Kakariko is also nice, so they'll be able to get the sick kid out of the way, but nothing else really.
Nothing else.
If they found the all bombs pack, that would have been nice to farm, just because then you have enough to get all the way through the early game checks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As it is, they're going to have to find some more somewhere or buy some.
Yeah, they'll be able to do 2 of the checks pretty easily, but there's still, you want to have at least 3 for the town, and of course, if you need to do the race game, you want more. There's also the consideration, things like Mini Moldorm, you often use bombs for that, but with the bow and arrow, they could use that instead.
I find the bombs a lot easier for Mini Moldorm than trying to do that cave with bow and arrow.
Oh, yeah, there are times. Sometimes it's nice to just have both at your disposal.
So I believe they did in that second bottle get a B to do that Mini Moldorm cave if they want.
Just hearts on the tree pole here.
Yeah, I assume that was tier 2. Ooh, our bush crab does have bombs. That's actually very nice.
That's really nice when those bush crabs have those bombs. And we are going to get an early lumberjack check here. And just bombs there. Not going to be going and getting those at any point in time.
That seems a bridge too far for refilling on your bombs.
Yeah. Always hate seeing bombs there when I don't have any. It's like, it just kind of teases you. Like, hey, here's some bombs that you're not going to want to go get. And so far, we've seen a piece of heart in the forest. Matt skips it. Yeah, I gotta decide. Decides he's gonna pick it up. This early, not a bad choice.
Yeah, I don't know how much No Major Glitches vanilla these two run. Might want a 4th heart for doing the vanilla big key chest room in Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Or if they decide to go all the way to the back, the getting the big key chest, not bad without the lamp. Getting the get all the way back to Armmost Knight's a little more difficult. So having a few extra hearts there is very useful if they decide they want to do an early Eastern Palace. It is still a pendant though, so we may not see that.
Yeah, that dark room, if you don't end up with a sword, is pretty hazardous. It's easy for them to get away from you.
So far, not much in Blind's Hut. Just some money, but at least they'll be able to do the bottle vendor.
Yeah, the 10 arrows are actually useful for once, since the bow is
because they
our
have
only
the bow.
weapon.
See if the well does anything for us. Bomb count pretty good, so they probably won't have to buy any, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, even if they get a little low heading towards South Shore, there's a bush crab they could refill at.
Yep. A mushroom. A glove is good. And a hook shot's really good.
Yeah, no hook shots in Swamp or Ice today.
Yeah, the that hook shot and glove effectively opens up the East Death Mountain area. Not in logic because we don't have a lamp yet, but at this point, anybody that can't, if you can't get through the old man cave without lamp, then you don't belong in this tournament.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if any of the people who made it through qualifiers. Ooh, and there's our Moon Pearl.
Moon Pearl, nice.
So now we're just a second glove or the hammer away from Dark World access.
And the early sick kid check nets us a vanilla bug net.
I feel like it's just cheap for that to be there.
So an interesting Kakariko. Got a couple really nice items in the glove and the hook shot. Have that mushroom that may or may not turn into something. I hate having that mushroom when I don't have the flute though. It's just so much more out of the way to get to the witch's hut.
Yeah, with the hookshot glove and Moon Pearl, I'd be. Ooh, that was one of the
That
rods.
was a fire
I did not
rod.
see which
I
one.
think it was a fire rod, but I'm not 100% sure now that you say it. We'll have to try and see it on Yagamoth's screen when he gets there. It does mean we're going to see boots if it's a fire rod. If it's not going to get the container heart from the race game. Okay, let's see. It is a. I still think it was a fire rod.
I believe that was fire rod. Yeah. These runners have much faster eyes than I do for that kind of thing.
Yagamoth also going to say no to the full container heart on the race game.
Yeah, you can construct a seed where you don't need that fire rod for quite some time, like if ever, but it probably is going to be needed pretty early.
Yeah, and I mean, well, it is possible if Skullwoods and Turtle Rock are both pendants, or if this being a 6/6 seed, if they end up being one of the dungeons you skip, then yeah, you could go without the fire rod, but it does make things in Ganon's Tower very tricky.
Yeah, but it could be something where like the boots are in GT. Hopefully not. We'll hope they find them early because that's no fun.
I mean, Desert is a crystal, so if Desert's boots lock, then we will need the boots for that too. So.
Well, but the logic can force you to skip a particular dungeon.
It sure can. Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second. This being a 6/6, we've seen both kinds. Sometimes the logic allows you to choose your dungeon, and other times it will force a specific dungeon for you to skip. For instance, if Turtle Rock is a crystal dungeon, the game might put either its medallion or the ice rod in GT, in which case it forces you to skip Turtle Rock. On the other hand, if that's the one it forces you to skip, that's not a bad thing, because that's probably the one that people like to skip the most. And Yagamoth getting our first sword of the game and an ice rod.
So, confirmation on which rod is sitting in the library, just in case we really needed it. Also, again, a rod you hope to not need for this seed.
Yeah, the hookshot's really nice to have going into that mini Moldorm cave.
Yeah, good chance Yagamoth gains some time here if he never gets over to Agina's cave. Matt definitely lost a couple minutes getting those bombs.
Okay, just 50 rupees. So I'm starting to run out of things to do here. In Logic, we have the Eastern Palace area. Zora is in Logic with that glove. With the Moon Pearl, I would expect if either one of them were to decide to do Zora, they'd do it with some fake flipper checks. Because they do have the Moon Pearl for that. And Yagamoth just jumping down just to see what's on the Lake Hylia Island. I believe I saw a bomb, but I'm not 100% sure. And of course, neither one is going to go over to Zora without some more money. It would seem kind of silly to do the fake flipper checks and not check Zora. When the Zora is the part that's in Logic. But no one wants to go just to Zora. Oh, we have a mitt.
There's our Dark World access, so that opens up a ton of checks. Let's see if it looks like Yagamoth is going to continue to Eastern rather than head back to Village.
Yeah, that's fair. He can complete this. It is a pendant, but it is the green pendant. And the mitts does not give us full-on Dark World access yet. We don't have flickers to get over to or hammer to get over to the pod area, so. Meanwhile, Matt's gonna turn in that mushroom for us. And we get money.
And he hard resets to save the mushroom for a potential fake powder later.
The one nice thing about having money there is if at some point in the seed, if he's low on money but needs a potion, the 50 rupees will be right there for him. Even if he has to turn in that mushroom again for it. Okay, looks like Matt's gonna go ahead and break to to Death Mountain. So we'll just see some sparkles for a little while on his screen.
Yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a disadvantage for him because Yagamoth's gonna be able to get to Dark Mountain whenever he goes up there because he's gonna have mitts.
So far, not much in Eastern.
Yeah, the Yagamoth's up to Zora money, but
yep.
That's about it. I take it back.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. There are those boots, which means he can go get his fire rod. I wonder if he'll just beeline it for that fire rod. Which actually puts the rest of Eastern. I did not see if he got the big key. If he does have it, then that puts Eastern being completed in Logic.
I didn't see him get the big key, but I did see something that tells me he has the big key, which is he just opened the big key.
He just opened the big chest. Yeah, good point. Going straight for those boots checks. And we see a mail upgrade on Spectacle Rock. Oh,
wow.
And a hammer. Oh, that's really big. So the boots locking the hammer and the fire rod. It might be a while before Matt gets to Eastern. Again, with it being a pendant, it's just not something you want to do.
Yeah, and even once he heads to that area, he may bail out when he gets the mitts in the closet.
And Yagamoth, he's going to make his play over towards Death Mountain. No surprise. He'll get that fire rod later. It doesn't really do much for him in this area, so.
Yeah, the one thing is, he doesn't have a fire source for Hera.
That is true. And he can actually get over there, so yeah, that's an interesting point. Maybe getting the fire rod beforehand might have been better. Now, we may not need to go to the basement in Hera.
Well, I'm gonna assume he can probably do Hera pot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even if,
especially,
so he'll be able to complete it.
Yeah, especially since he's got both the boots and the hook shot. The only thing that can mess him up is if that big key is down in the basement and there's an item in the big chest. Doing the Hera pot could be a bad thing.
Yeah, or if there's just an item in the basement he needs.
Yep. I kind of think more towards the first one being really bad, just because it's pretty common for runners to go ahead and skip that basement, even if it is under normal circumstances. So we'll see what he ends up doing.
I mean, that said, we are rapidly running out of the items that block multiple dungeons. And Meyer and TR are pendants.
Nice.
Some of the heavier requirement ones.
So yeah, we may not need any medallions at all. And of course we have the ice rod, so of course TR ends up being a pendant. So that becomes really interesting because Canis Samaria not going to be needed in this seed. And if was it Christos versus Zero Rush that had the 6/6 where the Canis Samaria was needed for the big key and nothing else?
I mean, by my count, I think they can get 5 crystals with what Yagamoth has. Not desert and not swamp are the ones that I'm seeing, unless I'm just blatantly forgetting something. Counting the fire rod is in his possession because he knows where it is.
Right.
Anytime.
Yeah, desert he'd need a book or a mirror, and swamp he would need flippers and mirror.
Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty close already.
It's pretty darn close.
I mean, then you get into like GT, Kane, might be required sort of scenarios.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, he will need at least one more sword. In the last match, we did end up with a Master Sword Silverless.
Big decision point coming up here for Matt. He's not that far behind if he continues into Eastern. If he heads to Dark World with these mitts, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that's that. I don't blame him for seeing those mitts and not thinking that I need to go on to Eastern. Unfortunately, that's where he needs to go. It's 3 items: the boots and the 2 behind the boots.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I think I would actually make the same play Matt is making. It's
for
just
sure
gonna hurt. Wow, the bug net dash into the balk. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's a new one for me, too. Okay, Yagamoth is going to go into Hera. And the other thing, and this happens, I think, to a lot of runners, it's definitely happened to me. You see an item that you can't get right away, and then when you get the item that lets you get it, you just forget to go get it. You think you already have it in your mind that you have it. But so far, it is not necessary for him to go in the basement. He does have the big key right away.
Yeah, and he's gonna hear it hot anyway, looks like.
Yeah, it still saves time if you can do it quick enough, and he does it very quickly.
Yeah, that was pretty gorgeous.
We'll get our first look at some of the Dark Death Mountain stuff. And there's our Canis Samaria.
Okay, so there's the worry about GT removed if Yagamoth gets over to that chest, which I have to think he will.
I don't think we've seen the second item on Yagamoth's side yet, so let's see if it's here. It is not, so he's gonna
Yeah.
have to leave that basement behind for now. And for what it's worth, Quake being our entry point into Turtle Rock. May never see it, may never want to see. Actually, probably don't want to see it. If they don't find Quake, then they can say, "Well, can't go to Turtle Rock anyway."
Yeah, it's definitely something you would rather just have Quake be sitting in GT and never have the
Yep.
option to go in.
Okay, let's see where Matt decides to go. Probably just gonna go over to the town and go into Village of Outcasts here. And since he doesn't have the hammer, we'll see if he decides he wants to do Thieves Town. He can full clear it, but sorry, he can defeat the dungeon. He may or may not be able to full clear it, depending on the big chest situation, since he doesn't have the hammer yet. And he isn't gonna find it here. So if you came in late, the big story going on right now is Yagamoth went into Eastern Palace, found the boots, and behind the boots is the fire rod, which is on the library, has not picked that up yet. And also in King's Tomb, we have the hammer. Matt, when he went over to the Eastern area, just stopped at Sarasa's closet, picked up some mitts, but did not go into Eastern. And I will add that it was Pendant Eastern, so definitely not a desirable place to go. So he does not have the boots to get those two items. And of course, the big question is, when is he going to get back there?
And there's a lamp to bring a lot of this stuff into logic.
Yeah, lamp's always good. Saves a little bit of time because they don't have to do the dark rooms. Even though, as I always say, these guys are perfectly comfortable doing the dark rooms, it is going to be faster if you don't have to do them in the dark.
Yeah, for Matt, that's also a fire source, since he won't be able to get the fire rod until he gets over to Eastern.
Yep. And going to Thieves Town without a hammer, you don't ever want to see that small key, and that small key was the first check. You really just want that small key to be in the big chest, so you never have to worry about going there.
Yeah, now he's just got to hope it's the map or compass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see where Yagamoth is going. Looks like maybe to the dig spot. Yeah, he's already selected the shovel.
Yagamoth's answer chat is either book or mirror, and then either flippers or flute away from go mode, I believe. And well, not go mode because he needs another sword, but you
Sword
go
mode.
mode all the dungeons and hope to find one somewhere.
Because depending on whether he finds access to desert or access to swamp, one of those might be forced on him.
Yeah. And of course, the game's going to expect him to have flippers for Ice Palace, but, you know, that's...
Yeah, who cares? If I'm him, I'd probably want to find a book that gets you access to desert. I mean, that would be, I think, ideal. Because you could do like you said, you don't need those flippers for Ice Palace. You can fake flipper there. Book gets you desert, and then you got everything else already.
Yeah, I think 100% we're going to see them just start hitting crystal areas up though and stop doing overworld checks, probably. Like Skullwoods, Thieves Town, Pod.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to do Skullwoods first. Probably would do Thieves Town right afterwards. looks like so far we're just finding a small shield in Thieves Town. And it looks like Yagamoth is going to go ahead and beat Skullwoods first. We'll see if he decides to do any checks afterwards. I always like to do the back first with the fire rod. The only caveat is with only the fighter sword and no half magic to help with the with fire rod shots, it is going to be a more difficult fight.
Yeah, it does look like there's only one non-dungeon item left in Thieves. We haven't seen map or compass, so Matt just needs to hope he sees it, and we don't have to worry about the big chest. There you go.
There you go. So nothing interesting in Thieves Town, but it is a crystal, so we get that one over with.
Yeah, the difference between go moding Thieves Town and checking everything is not very big.
No, I mean maybe you skip the big chest regardless of it, whether it's an item or not. That's pretty much it, because all the chests are right there on the way.
Yeah, depending on where the big key is in the
Yep.
front, maybe you could just skip some of that, but that's about it. That was an incredible hammer fight on Mothula.
Yeah, again, considering that he only had a fighter sword, that's definitely the way to go. A lot more damage that way. And we get 2 crystals at almost the same time. Yagamoth's gonna go in here and check the bridge chest. And does find an item, just a piece of heart. Now he knows where one of them is. It looks like we're going to see a dig game check from Matt. One dig.
Single dig. I come in a
10
lot
arrows.
of one dig games. I never seem to have them when I
Yeah,
play.
I know, right? So, best way for Matt to get back in this, I think, is if he were to find a mirror and get access, and then head over to Pod and maybe double up Pod Eastern. Of course, the only problem is he won't have that hammer. He'll have to get the boots and go out of his way to get that hammer at King's Tomb. But it might take him back to that area.
Yeah, I think his best case might just be, something like, I'm trying to think of the best case, actually. Maybe the mirror is in GT, which I think can still happen. And the book is on Head.
If he finds the book. That's an interesting scenario. Book on Pet has got to be the worst, though, because you can't check it ahead of time.
Like, it's got to be something. I think at this point the gap is widening with every second.
Yeah.
He's going to need something outlandish to happen for Yagamoth not to.
Yeah,
kinda
pretty
roll
much.
with this.
I mean, essentially, whatever that other item that we're going to get for Yagamoth to go into go mode, Matt needs to get to it first, and then he needs to get back to Eastern at some point. And it just might be a while before there's so many checks you can do with what he has. So is a boomerang on Lake Hylia Island. Don't think the runners are going to go out of their way to get that. Much as most people like the blue boomerang better than the red boomerang. Okay, is he going to head over to Eastern, or is he going to head over to Pod? He's going to head over to Eastern. Okay.
Okay, this is good for him.
Good news.
Yeah. Still behind. Still will definitely need to do that King's Tomb check, which we'll know where the fire rod is and do Skullwoods instead. but still, at least it means no longer losing time. I mean, Yagamoth dipped out after getting the boots, so there was still another item in here plus the green pendant. It's possible that that's something if Matt sticks that out.
So we might see some new things over on Matt's side. We've already seen Thieves Town over here on Yagamoth's side. Always kind of fun how the Moogle turns into, I think it's Celis from Final Fantasy VI for the bunny sprite.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, Matt's about to get his boots. Let's see what he does after this.
Okay, continues on.
He's going to continue.
So, yeah. That's going to be 2 extra items he'll get to see, assuming he turns in the green pendant.
Oh, and you're right here. I can't imagine you wouldn't, but yeah.
Yeah, he made it over here earlier than I was worried he would. This is pretty good for him.
Well, he had a lot of other places he could go, but a lot of things that he couldn't finish. Like, he could go to Pod, but he can't finish Pod because he doesn't have the hammer.
Right.
Go to Skullwoods, but he couldn't finish Skullwoods because no fire rod.
Okay, so that's his 3 items in here, but he is going to continue to get the green pendant.
Nothing new we're going to see over here in Thieves Town.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Armor's Knight's the map. So,
yeah, I think we're done with dungeon items here. And Matt doing a very nice quick kill of the Armos Knights. And Yagamoth's doing a nice job staying on the script for blind. Now let's see what that green pendant is. Just a piece of heart.
That's some time Yagamoth aimed by ditching out, assuming that we don't need ped. Which I'm pretty willing to assume at this point, given how many items are there.
I mean, there are ways it could happen, but in a 6/6, I have yet to see a 6/6 ped seed. I don't know about you. Just seems unlikely. There's so many items that could allow us to complete this. And some of which, I'm trying to think if any of them would stop us from it even being a ped seed.
I mean, it basically would just require, like, whatever access. Like, if mirror is in GT and then book is there or something.
Yeah, something weird like that. Yeah, we see a Quake medallion. It's not what Yaga wants to see, because now Turtle Rock completely open for him.
I think we'll see a whole lot of things before we see that.
Oh god, yeah. Doesn't make it feel any better though. Like going into Turtle Rock, Pendant Turtle Rock is bad enough. Going into Pendant Turtle Rock at a 6/6 seed. I mean, I could see fake flippering into ice before doing that, because you know, you could have the flippers in Turtle Rock to get to ice, that then allows you to get, say, that mirror or that book. So Matt going straight for his fire rod. No surprise. We'll see if he does the other boots checks before heading into, say, Skullwoods or something. It looks like he is going to just go Skullwoods, I think, heading through town. Unfortunately, we have Yagamoth going into Hype Cave. Nothing here or in Skullwoods that'll help them, either one of them out. And there is still the Zora play that nobody's done yet.
Yeah. And that does have his hammer, so I already did do the same.
Oh, he did it. Okay. He's got his hammer, so that's good. Did not see that.
Yeah, so in kind of similar boats in terms of items, it's just Yagamoth's got 2 more crystals.
Yep. I'm gonna see a pyramid ledge check.
Yeah, you're never going to do Pyramid Fairy with Swamp being one of the 5/6 at this point, so might as well take a look before heading into Pod.
It is just bombs. At this point, Pod is a really good place for Yagamoth to go to. There are 5 items in this dungeon. It's not a particularly good go mode dungeon.
Yeah, how much it gains from go moding, it really depends on where the big key is.
Yep.
But even so, the 5 items is like the richest you have available to you in a crystal dungeon.
Yep.
And Ice Palace, which only has 3, is a big benefit to go mode, and also can't have flippers.
Yeah, Ice Palace could have other things to get us into go mode, but yeah, not gonna have those flippers.
Yeah, it just means it narrows the possibilities because you've got multiple paths to go mode on the
Right.
side, and that cuts one of them off.
It would require, again, a book would be good for there, or a combination of flute and mirror.
Yeah, or flippers and mirror, and flippers and mirror would be cut off in ice. You can't.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, I might do that before going to Turtle Rock for that, to hope to find something that let me access desert, but definitely gonna do Pod before I do a fake flipper ice.
Yeah, I'm fake flippering into ice, right away if my choice is that or pendant TR.
Of course, not having a mirror in that spot in Skullwoods means you have to damage yourself down to get out. Fortunately, with only green mail, it's not so bad.
12 hearts is a lot of hearts. Green
It
mail,
is a lot of hearts, though. As we see all the keys in pod in the front. That might have actually been, was that all? I wasn't paying enough attention. That may have been. I don't think that was all 6, but sure was a lot of them.
I think it was, because I
You
think
think
he
it
did
was?
key per key on the vanilla
Yeah.
test.
There was definitely a key in the vanilla big key chest. And that's... So it was at least 5. It may have been all 6.
Well, he opened the. That means he's opened 2 and now 3.
Right,
So yeah,
yeah,
that was
that's right.
that was
So
definitely all 6.
it was the all 6. Nice. Don't see that very often. Okay, looks like Matt's gonna also head over to pod. And there's a cape. Doesn't do a whole lot for us unless there's something on the bumper ledge. It looks like Yagamoth is going to set up for the hammer jump. And gets it with no problem. So far, just getting some bombs and rupees for his trouble, though. One more check here, though. And just a piece of heart.
Yeah, so not a ton so far. I lost track. I'm not sure if there is going to be an item on Helma or not.
We'll have to see when he menus, see if he has both the map and the compass. Nope. Missing the compass, so that'll be what's on Helmasaur.
Yep. So pod comes up a little dry, and now you have more interesting choices.
And by more interesting, more varied and less desirable.
I mean, I think you do fake flipper checks, and then
I think so,
fake
too.
flipper ice. You can even get the Zora ledge pretty easy because they have red meringue and cane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course we have not seen any of the Smith chain, so we might see some of that. But yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea of getting that crystal in ice first. Regardless, you have to do another crystal at some point. We're going to have to get flippers in this seed at some point, so might as well do ice. And if you can break around the flippers, like I said, if the flippers are in a really bad spot, leading you to Ice Palace for something less, for something that allows you to do desert, that would be pretty huge.
Yeah, you don't really love doing Smith chain without flute or mirror.
Yeah, it's a really slow.
Yeah, I mean, Fake Flipper Zora checks plus ice is 8 items, I think. So that seems like the way to go.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Yagamoth decides to do.
Yeah, I think this is a Fake Flipper setup.
Yeah, gonna do the Ancilla setup here.
I don't think it works if you throw the bomb in the water.
Basically, the main idea here, and I don't know all the nuances, is we call this splash deletion because the way the Ancilla works is certain little slots that the game has for all the different items on the screen. And if you fill in the right slots and you don't get a splash when you jump into the water, the game will say, "Oh, you have flippers," since for whatever reason the game checks for the splash to decide that you don't have flippers. If there's no splash, it'll think you have the flippers and let you swim.
Yeah, there's a ton of different setups for them. The two I know relatively well are the bow and bombs, which I believe it's 3 arrows and 2 bombs. But that one does require some timing with the arrow shots. The easier one is the red cane bombs and then the red ring. And those are the two setups I know of that allow you to get the Zora Ledge items. There are a ton of them that'll let you do the first Fake Flipper.
So we're first going to see the flippers checks here. I could argue either way whether to do this first or ice first. I mean, if you find that book, say, then you can go mode ice, essentially. Of course, we still would be in sword mode. So that also always being a consideration.
I think I do this first just because the only one of these checks that is in logic is actually Zora.
Yeah, there is an actual, yeah, that's a really good point. There is an actual in logic check here. And unfortunately, we just get scammed out of a whole lot of money.
Yeah, that's usually the way it goes.
Yeah, certainly not unusual in any case. And we're gonna go right to ice. Leaving the one check under the bridge, the hobo. He can do that afterwards if he needs to.
Yeah, that is a very slow check.
It really is. Might see him set up a water walk to do that. Might be a little bit quicker just to do that. And we get a small key in Ice Palace right away, so don't even really need the hook shot then. But hook shot in Ice Palace is really nice. If nothing else, it gives you that one-shot kill on those pen gators. Especially if you're only running around there with Fighter's Sword as we are.
Yeah, it also just helps with a lot of the movement through here. Ice Palace without either boots or hookshot is just miserable. With both, it is
really
slightly
is.
less miserable.
And Matt gonna go straight to the Ice Palace play before doing the flippers checks, which he doesn't know it right now. It is the right thing to do.
Yeah, though, I mean, one location it could be that actually is very good for Matt right now is if the item that they need is in the basement of Hera, which Matt has not done yet. But
That's true.
Yagamoth had to skip.
Okay, Yagamoth heading over to the right side. This room is I always find kind of funny because you have so many different things to it. You have to pound the hammers, little gopher thingies. You have to hit the switch for the chest. You have to pull the tongue to open the door. And there's a mirror. Okay, so now we are at flippers, or a flute, or a book.
Yeah, 3 items that could be go mode, other than the sword, just to get the pendants and chat satisfied.
Unfortunately, the mirror by itself, all it does is gives us more checks in out-of-the-way places. But we are definitely not going to find the flippers here. You could find the flute or the book here, though.
Yeah, I mean, this might actually drive you. I mean, and Zelgatus is bringing this up in chat towards TR, thinking that the flippers are probably there.
It could. Matt, having already done Eastern Palace, might be a little bit, and having not done Tower of Hera, it might look better for him to do that. Whereas Yagamoth might finish up Eastern and get that green pendant first. So we'll have to see what his decision is there.
Yeah, depending on what else is in here, I expect we'll see Matt do the rest of the Death Mountain stuff, Tower of Hera included, which it could very well be that the flippers are in the basement of Hera.
It could be.
One place they're definitely not within TR, sort of, is Mimic Cave.
That's right, because finding the mirror here means it can't be there. But could be book, could be flute there, so you can't skip it. That's one of the weird things about this whole 6-6, because you have multiple paths to go mode. Like if this were a normal 7-7 and your go mode was flippers, you just skip that spot. You don't even worry about it.
Yeah, but it could be that it's the flute or it's the book, so you probably still go in there for it. Also, you do still need a sword, and it could very well be one of your 3 swords.
And Matt not that far behind and getting to Cold Stare. Of course, a dungeon behind, but we'll see what Yagamoth decides to do now.
Yeah, but Swamp and Desert aren't too bad when you're just in full go mode, so probably just wants to see a way in. Does look like he's heading in that direction.
Yeah, we are gonna. Looks like we'll see TR. With that mirror, he may go ahead and check the basement. Looks like based on where he's going, it looks like he may check the basement first. Possibly Spike Cave.
He might just be going this way to get that blue mail.
Yeah, that can't hurt.
Already knew it was there, and it's not a huge time difference. Like this
No,
is
it really
slower
isn't.
than the other route, but it's not by a lot.
Okay, not going to do Tower Hera first. Makes a certain amount of sense. You could go do TR. If he finds what he needs there, then he's good to go. And if he doesn't, he can route both Spike Cave and the Basement of Hera at the same time after you do TR.
Once you eventually walk past all of these dead rocks.
Yeah. I suspect Matt will do a Tower Hera first. So yeah, like you say, if that item's in the basement and Matt does decide to check it, that could be pretty big.
Well, Matt doesn't have Quake, so can't even get into TR. I believe that was hammer pegs.
So that's good for Matt if the item's not in TR. But if it is in TR, that's really bad.
Yeah, but even if he had Quake, if it was in TR, I think he'd be in a lot of trouble anyway. Because
yeah, that's probably true.
Crystal behind. His best hope is actually that it's not in TR and he never goes there.
Yep, exactly. Okay, our first Turtle Rock check is the big key. So for what it's worth, we were Fire Rod locked, which essentially means we were Boots locked, but that's forever ago in the seed. And now we have a small shield, a fire shield, and the key we need to keep going. Makes quick work of Moldorm with that hammer. You know, I suspect he's got to go back in this situation. We're so much later in the seed, and he does have the fire source to do it. So, whereas when Yagamoth did this, it was very early in the seed, did not have fire, so we just had to leave it behind. And there he goes.
So Matt gets a nice 45 seconds or so to think about what he's done.
And what could also be interesting is the two runners could end up with different paths to go mode. Like if the flippers were here for Matt and say Yagamoth found the book at Mimic Cave.
Yeah, I think the difference between Go Mode Swamp and Desert Palace is marginal at best. I don't think it's a big difference. So probably would be in Yagamoth's favor to some degree,
but just 300 rupees. But we are going to see a Spike Cave check from Mac. That still could be something for him.
Did I miss it, or did Yagamoth just skip Mimic Cave?
I did not see him go in there.
Oh, but there's the flippers and Spike.
Oh. So that'll put Matt in go mode.
That's huge, and now just needs to do swamp. Has taken the lead.
I mean, the good news for Yagamoth is I gotta believe he's gonna hit that after this, but he might do the Basement of Hera first. So that actually, unless he finds one of those items to get him into desert, this is pretty bad news in general for Yagamoth. But we do have at least 3 items, I think, over here. I wasn't paying attention to whether he's gotten the maps and compass yet, but it's got to be a key here at least. And there's that key.
And we know
there's
he's
a compass.
Find flippers, but could still find the flute.
There's a sword.
Well, that's pretty big too.
That makes things interesting. Unfortunately, nothing else.
Yeah, even if there's another along the way, there is a pretty decent difference between Master Sword and Tempered, especially for Silverless Ganon. Honestly, there's not a small difference on Argus.
Oh yeah, Fighter Sword Argus is horrible. Your other option being menu strats with the hammer. Which is pretty horrible too.
Yeah, both of those options are worse than the Master Sword version of the fight.
Oh, for sure.
So I think Yagamoth will enter full go mode probably after this. Probably does Hera Basement first and then Spike Cave.
Unfortunately, I think he does do that first. He's gonna have to be careful here. He's down to 1 heart. I don't know what he's got in terms of bottles. Like he's got 3 of them. There might be a fairy in one of them. Oh, there is a fairy, so he's fine.
The others, I believe, are a B and a green potion.
Yeah, I remember them getting a green. Ends up not even using the fairy. Very well done.
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping for his sake that was going to be a refill just to save a couple seconds here at the fanfare. So where our last 2 swords are really matters now.
It does.
If you're rooting for Matt, you want him to be somewhere along the way. If you're rooting for Yagamoth, you don't.
Yeah, pretty much. And Matt is probably going to do some of these along the way checks just to see if he gets a sword, where Yagamoth might skip them all. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. This is a longer check, but it makes so much more sense to do this first, because once you get into Spike Cave, you don't want to have to get out of Spike Cave, so it would be a save and quit, and then come back up here.
Yeah, you have to do this one first from Yagamoth's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be particularly interesting if there is an early big key in GT.
So you see what Matt has to do to try and he has to spin to destroy the little puffs. And the ideal way to do it is you want to be able to grab 2 of them and then do the spin to get both of them at the same time. But you can see how slow that is.
Yeah, you also have to land 2 hits on it, which he is doing most time. Did have one where he only got 1 hit in.
Yagamoth gets his flipper, saves and quits. We'll beeline it to Swamp Palace. And he is in full go mode at 109.
A little trouble with Matt hammering the remaining part of Argus.
And just bombs for the items. So Matt gonna go into GT without the sword upgrade he needs.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most dense location. You definitely go there, but
Oh, for sure.
Gonna have to hope that there's one on the way to the big key.
Ideally for Matt, he wants to find a sword in GT that Yagamoth skips. Because if Matt finds one on the way to the big key, there's a good chance that Yagamoth's going to find it, and that sword difference is still going to be there.
Yeah, though I do think Matt is going to have enough of an edge going in here to make up for that sword difference. If he doesn't have to look for one in more checks than Yagamoth does.
Exactly. You're gonna buy a red potion here. I like that idea. One of the bad things about not having the flute is it's just so out of the way to go to the potion shop. So.
You can put a number in chat if you want to, chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's that little game we play. Yep, the 22 chests in 21 plus the torch in Ganon's Tower. Put your guess in, and if you win, you get points that don't do much of anything, but give you bragging rights. And I personally don't care if you want to put a strange number in, just don't expect to win if you do.
I mean, we're going to find out if I remember the commands to control the bot anyway.
So Yagamoth is still doing some extra checks, hoping to find another sword. Not gonna find it here, though. Matt gonna go to the right side first. You know, we have 1 is a small key. 2 is a single rupee. Is gonna continue on the right side. And can do so with that key. You see the difference now on Yagamoth's side with the Master Sword. He's still using sword spins, but he doesn't have to necessarily hit him twice. So rupees and 3 rupees and a piece of heart in chests 3, 4, 5, and 6. And go ahead and grab the small key here and mirror on out.
Meanwhile, Yagamoth getting the boss down.
Now there's some silver arrows on the 7th, so that helps Matt out. If and that helps Yagamoth out too. He'll get those for sure.
Yeah, but that's much bigger for Matt because phase 4 is where the sword difference really
makes the biggest difference.
Shows.
Small key, more rupees, another shield, and a compass. So that puts us at 7, 8, 9, and 10. So the next one will be 11, if I'm counting right. Counting's hard.
No, that was 11. This is 12.
Okay, good.
I think you might. The silvers were 7.
And Yagamoth might be able to catch some time up if he goes straight to the left side and doesn't do the compass room.
Yeah, so either just full left, or if he does Hope Room and then left, Dark Magician strats would hurt.
Oh yeah, 13 being 10 arrows. $14, 20 rupees. 15 is the big key. So number 15.
Yeah, but Matt has to continue. Still needs a sword.
Still needs a sword.
I mean, the bot's going to give somebody credit, but is it really a win if you didn't actually get it dead on?
And just a map in the big chest. Don't get to see the big chest very often.
No, this is basically the only situation where you do.
Yep.
Or like people looking for a hook shot to do. No, you don't see it even then very much.
Oh, and unfortunately Yagamoth is menuing to his cane and is going to go do the right side first. Unfortunately,
Well, that closes our non-flipper possibilities for there having been a go mode as Matt finds the book.
Mm-hmm. So once again, 6/6 seed forcing us to do specific dungeons. And still no sword. So do you do tile room at this point? Or do you just go on up?
Oh boy. Looks like he's going on up.
Matt goes on up, but God, that would be a tough choice.
You got 4 more chances at it.
Yagamoth's gonna pick up his silver arrows.
I think he's got enough of a lead, even if Yagamoth were to end up getting that tempered sword, that it's just going to come down to, is there a sword
Is there a sword? I agree. Okay, Matt working his way through the gauntlet while the Yagamoth is getting closer to his big key.
Needs to burn a potion, got down to 1 heart there.
And they never found powder, so they're not going to be able to powder any anti-fairies to get a free refill.
I mean, Matt is low enough that he could fake powder if he really wanted to burn through that magic.
Yeah, that is a thing. We always talk about fake powder for the magic bat, but yeah, you can fake powder anywhere.
Yeah, that fighter sword gauntlet is number one,
Not
not
fun.
easy. Also, not something you practice a ton. Like even if
No,
you do
not
swordless
really.
siege, you're just doing it with hammer. But Matt was trying
Yep.
to use the fighter sword in parts there.
Okay, Yagamoth's starting to make his way up. My guess is he'll be checking chests along the way because he'd probably prefer to have a tempered sword. But what he doesn't know is he's better off if he doesn't find one.
Yeah, with silvers, it's maybe not. We'll see.
Okay, we're gonna get close to those last chests here. We got 2 in this room.
This is probably the match. Single arrow is not going to help you.
Or 20 rupees. We got 2 more chests to bail Matt out.
There's
One
our
more chest to bail
fourth
Matt out.
bottle.
And a very unuseful item within said bottle. Oh, and taking a fall to Moldorm.
Yeah, Moldorm's very, very defensive of his sword.
And one last chance for that sword.
Yep.
And it is bombs.
Bombs.
Ouch. Oh, that hurts.
Gonna go ahead and clear Aga 2.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
won't have to reclimb, of course. You definitely do not want to have to reclimb. But then needs to find a sword somewhere.
We only know where the one is in Turtle Rock. We don't know where any of the other 2 are.
Yeah, I'm guessing one of the first checks we see is actually something I said we wouldn't see at all this seed, which is Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, well, because it is right there, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, nice triple there. Very nice Agatu fight there from Matt. Because yeah, once he gets deposited onto the pyramid, he can go ahead and save and quit right to Link's house and run and get get himself into Darkwood, get the big bomb, and if a sword is there, he's right there.
Oh, Yagamoth is actually fake powdering. Or trying to.
And he managed to get it. He only got one of the...
No, that was just the bunny beam expiring.
Oh. I thought I saw some hearts refill, but nope, he's just got 6+.
Let's see where Matt heads. Graveyard Ledge, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like.
Like, if this had it, I actually think that it would be pretty close.
Yeah. But just a piece of heart. And unfortunately, I don't... well, even if Matt were to go to TR where we know there is a sword, I believe it was on Laser Bridge, so it'd be a long time till it got there. So that's definitely not his best bet.
No, he needs to find one somewhere here. Unfortunately, I just don't think there's a check that's going to be close enough at this point that we haven't already seen.
I like the Pyramid Fairy idea. I'm a little surprised he didn't go for that, or even go for it right after Graveyard Ledge. Gonna check Bumper Ledge. Half Magic would be nice, but not gonna help him.
And Yagamoth going to be heading into the Ganon fight.
Okay, not quite as scary a fight as he had yesterday, where he didn't just had Master Sword Silverless, and not a lot in potions. Had this funny thing happen. He had the surprise green potion they'd picked up in the dark maze in Pod. This time, I believe he's got a green and a fairy, and that bee in the bottles that we got at the end. Oh, we're gonna see a catfish check over here, and red mail. I mean, it's nice. Not what he's looking for.
That is the wrong upgrade, and we already know the rest of this is trash.
Yep, we've seen the Zora checks and the Flippers checks already. Oh, he does have a red. Okay, I'm gonna use that now. And gonna make use of that cape to make the sword spins a little bit easier to get.
Yeah, and into phase 3. At this point, this sword doesn't matter that much. Does make it a little harder to get doubles and triples in phase 4. Just misses the double there, but this last arrow should do it.
And Yagamoth finishing up, winning with a first place time of 1:26.27. So put your GGs in chat if you haven't already for Yagamoth.
And Yagamoth will be moving on to face Aussie 101 in the round of 32.
Yeah, that should be a really nice matchup.
Yeah, while we're getting ready to start an interview with Yagamoth before too much longer, but in the meantime, give both of these runners a follow. That's a hard way to go out of a tournament for matt7898 and put on a very good show. And obviously, Yagamoth will be continuing on. So give both of them a follow, as well as our tracker, Zelgadis-san.
Yeah, shout outs to Zelda for doing the tracking, doing the hard work. As I like to say, the hard work behind the scenes, so we can just concentrate on commentating the race.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot track myself. I
I'm
deeply appreciate the people who can. Also follow my co-commentator, Tracy M.
And my co-commentator, Mercer. And bringing in Yagamoth, GG's. Congratulations. Moving on.
Apparently so. Kind of
So,
a bit unexpected after that first game, honest.
well, I saw some of the chatter in the SRL, so I think you know what the difference was. But yeah, you want to talk about that Turtle Rock? Didn't look like it was going to be all that great until we didn't find any other swords the rest of the way.
Yeah, basically my main idea was I need to check locations that are not mirror locked. So
Yep.
I had a lot of scattered things, and Turtle Rock was just the only like cluster of chests that I still hadn't checked. And I could just check Tower of Hera and Spy Cave afterwards, so I figured that would be a good start. I was considering checking Mimic Cave, but ended up not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Mimic Cave could have had, say, a book or a
Yeah, it could
flute
have
would have
had a
helped you out, but
But I figured at that point I'm just looking specifically for the flippers, considering that I found the mirror in Ice Palace without having the flip.
Yep, it makes a lot of sense. You know, it with 6-6 is so weird because like you had a few different routes to go mode, and as it turns out, the game, as it often does, chose your go mode for you because we did eventually see a book and a flute in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, that's actually quite unfortunate. I like 6-6 because often you have choices, but apparently not in R2. Right?
No. Which is a shame because, you know, Matt got those flippers. It would have been really interesting had you happened upon a book up there in TR and gone that route and see how the routes would have worked out that way.
Indeed. I actually felt decently far behind. Like, initially, I felt like I made a good play with getting the boots early and basically finding Hammer right away. But after effectively not finding that last piece for quite a while, completing Turtle Rock without quote-unquote finding anything, which ended up being the deciding factor, yeah, I thought I might have to hurry a bit here.
So how hard were you looking for that third sword? Because you did do a few other checks, not to mention you did find silvers, but you know, in Swamp you did a couple extra checks there too.
I see. Oh, Flute was in Swamp?
Yes, yeah, I don't remember which chest.
Oh, it was in Swamp. Okay, there is a sword.
Yeah.
There Matt finds a sword in the Mire Shed, which, yeah. Ouch. That's
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a location that was, locked behind the flippers and mirror. And Matt did decide to forfeit this. No shame in that. I think just continuing to maybe play it out for fun, but did actually officially forfeit a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm. And let's bring him in as well. So Matt, well, GG's, good job getting into brackets, but unfortunately that sword got you.
Yeah, that was a kind of a dumb way to finish this, but oh well. There's no shame in losing to a good player like Yagamoth. I don't feel bad.
Yeah, on my end, I was kind of on the same boat. I felt like against Matt, I wouldn't mind losing, honestly, because as he said in SRL chat, it felt kind of like a coin flip at this point. So, GG, thank you for.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah, it was a very swingy game from our point of view. I'm not sure what time y'all got to see it, but the earliest thing was Yagamoth finding boots very, very early by going into Eastern, and Matt was a couple crystals behind by the time you got boots. But then another massive swing when Matt skipped, did not do hammer pegs, didn't get Quake, and ended up finding flippers and Spike very early because of that. And then, of course, the sword. So it kind of was a race of massive swings. Not really sure if y'all could feel that like while you were running, that these were just such big items.
Yeah, I thought when I found the flippers, I thought if I can find a sword, I will probably win. I felt really good about finding those flippers in Spike Cave when I did. And the way I sequence broke the mirror, which was kind of questionable, but at this point, we could have found a book somewhere too for go mode.
Oh, sure.
But that whole sequence of events, I felt it like would have put me ahead. Maybe I didn't really watch the restream, but I just needed a sword. Really, I think if I found a sword in GT, I probably would have won.
Oh yeah, I mean you were definitely ahead going into GT. It was close, but you just got to since you got to those flippers just a little bit earlier because Yagamoth went and full cleared Turtle Rock. But yeah, you both fake flippered into ice, and we had said that since you only needed if you found the book say in Ice Palace, then you don't even need those flippers. So it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, turns out the book was in Gan's Tower though.
Yep.
Although we could have still done desert, but it was a good thing there was a key in that first chest in Ice Palace, because if I didn't get that key, I was not going to the right side. So then it would have been really bad.
Mm. So Yagmoth going to play Aussie in the next round. What are your thoughts?
I have to admit I need to watch the matches because I haven't really followed the scene for Randomizer too much, so it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious.
Aussie
I
is
don't really
really
know
good.
anything.
Yeah, he is.
He's better than me, so you got your hands full. Either one of
Yeah.
us would have.
Yeah, Aussie won the qualifiers for the SG Live to event, to give you an idea.
Nice.
So it should be a fun matchup, at least from our perspective. I don't know about from your perspective.
I mean, I don't think there are any easy options left for you at this point.
No, there really aren't.
But yeah, what led you to go for that early Eastern play, even after getting Dark World access?
Mainly because I figured we seemed, at least in the first game, we seemed to play just very similarly, Matt and I, but I felt like he had better execution, so I just wanted to make an early difference one way or another. And, well, that ended up working out. So that was basically a gamble going into Eastern early in my mind, which happened to be the correct play.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Any other thoughts on the seed from either of you? Or on the match as a whole? I have to admit, I didn't see either of the other games, but I know Tracy did.
No, it was a close series. Like I said, at this point in the tournament, anybody can beat anybody. You're gonna have to have some things go your way to win this thing. So just best of luck to Yaga in the rest of his matches.
Thank you. Well, yeah, GG and well played, and once again, thank you for commentating and tracking and restreaming. I always really appreciate those matches. I like lurking in those.
Yeah, I'll echo that sentiment. Thanks to you two, as well as Zelda for doing the tracking.
Yeah, so that'll just about do it. Again, I'll put the plea in for you to go ahead and follow these guys and our tracker and my co-commentator, Zelda and Mercer. If you want to watch more Link to the Past Randomizer, there are actually 3 matches that started at 3:20 Eastern that should still be going. Over on Speed Gaming 3, we have P-Train versus Top Life. I believe that's a game 2. We have on Speed Gaming 4, we have Hayfield Bay versus Pika Pals. That's a game 1. And I don't know what happened in game 2 between Tito and Ninban, but if that may have gone to a game 3. If it did, that'll be on the main Speed Gaming channel. So a lot of good choices. And also at 6:20, we have Goomba versus Marknificent on the main Speed Gaming channel. So a whole lot of Link to the Past action going on the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm going to flip over into one of those here in a minute once we go off. But thank you for the co-com, and thank you everybody for watching.
Yeah, thank you too for the co-commentary, Mercer, and again, thanks to Zelda for doing the tracking. Thank you to Speed Gaming and everybody from behind the scenes for setting all this up. And be sure to follow Speed Gaming 2 through 6, ALTTP Randomizer 2 through 5 for all your Link to the Past randomizer needs. And we will see you at the next one.